All right, we are live on the for the Mother and Son post game show,
Yes.
and I want to say that we are ready to talk about training camp, 2025
Yes.
training camp for the New York Giants. So, so I want to make sure that we cover everything that needs to be talked about. 'Cause there's a lot going on. There's a
Yes.
lot going on. And but first, I want to say thank you. We are Family Bonding, the Mother and Son post game show. We are just a small little podcast, but we want to get bigger. So please like and of course subscribe. Please subscribe. It's very important because we need to get more subscribers. We want to grow our family and make sure that you or hit the little bell for the notifications and share what your thoughts are about the Giants this season. I know it's they tend to be a hot mess. I know that, but we're gonna try to make some sense out of it for you. And the Sun has some good stuff to talk about today. Why don't you get started?
Well, before we do that, Mother forgot to mention that we are on the road to getting monetized. We need your help. We need the support because if we don't hit this goal, we have to start all over again. And that would make the mother and son very sad. We don't want to make my mom sad. So please help us out. Our goal, we just need, I don't know what the actual goal is for subscribers count. Is it actually to get to 1,000? Do we actually need to
Yes,
get to that?
we
So we
we
do need to
need
get to a
that.
thousand. We
We
really need
400
that.
more
Please.
people to
Yes.
subscribe.
We thank you for everyone that has been supporting us, but we can't do this without your continued support. We really do want to get to this point because then we can give you even more content. I have a whole bunch of ideas that I've been marinating on. I haven't even told my mother about because I wanted to save it for these type of opportunities. So please, we can give you more content. We can give you what you want, which I know is more of me crashing out and my mom calming me down like a mother is supposed to. So let's try to get to that goal, please. We can pump out more content. We just need your help to give us that motivation to keep putting out this content. So, but like my mother said, I wanted to start off with practice. Let's talk about the actual like mechanics of it all with the quarterbacks, how they look. Russell Wilson, of course. Let's start with the veteran. He looks good as I expected. Of course, there wasn't that much pressure because it wasn't full contact, but I did see Abdul Carter getting into the backfield. I saw some gentlemen. Unfortunately, I couldn't see their numbers from the angles of the footage, but I did see some helmets on the pass rush getting into the backfield, so that was a little concerning. Considering, at the very least, get some hands on them. There was a lineman. I didn't get to really see his number because it was the second string. But I saw some people on the edge, the tackles on the edge. They looked like they were trying, but they can't keep up with Abdul Carter, which is great for Abdul Carter, but concerning for if we need one of those backups to get in there. Because as you know, the New York Giants love to have injuries and we'd love to never be on the field healthy. So it's important that our backups can at least fill in there if they need to week because we're one of those teams that historically is known for having completely different offensive lineups week in and week out. It's crazy. So I want to see more effort from the offensive line. The defensive line looks pretty good with the pass rush. Abdul Carter, like I said, again, great speed, a good explosion off the edge. He has some great moves. His hands are quick, like I expected. He just gives me hope that he can help out Kayvon to get some pressure off of him because Kayvon is looking a little one dimensional, and I love Kayvon. It's just I need more from him than just setting the edge. I need more pressure in the backfield. And when we got rid of Leonard Williams, it really put a lot of pressure on him and Dexter Lawrence, with Burns not really being on the field a lot because of injuries last season, at least at certain points throughout the season. We need more depth at the pass rush. So it's important because that's what the New York Giants were based off of on their defense, a good pass rush, solid front seven. The secondary was okay. It never was over the top amazing, outside of when we had Xavier McKinney and Adoree Jackson and others. I believe Julian Love. That was a really good secondary. We were a little spoiled then. It's just our offense was atrocious during that time period. So it's unfortunate. But we need to get back to that type of defense with a good pass rush, good front seven. Our rush defense was atrocious last season. It was terrible. Some of the worst defense in rush game in the league. So we need to hopefully revamp the defense in that regard, get them some better stops in the short yardage game, stop those first down plays because I've noticed the Giants on first down, or every time the opposing team converts to get another first down, that next play is always big. We have to be able to stop momentum. We don't can't do that right now. So I'm looking to see Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeaux, and Dexter Lawrence all mesh together and form a new regime in the front four and hopefully the front seven as well. So there's that for the defensive side of things. Back to the more offense. I know I did start with Russell Wilson, so let's go back to Russell Wilson real quick. He had a great throw to Wan'Dale Robinson at the top right of the end zone to Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale, of course, is somebody who I've been saying for the past couple of years that I've been looking for him to have that explosive year. But when you have a quarterback like Daniel Jones with the combination of that offensive line, it's really hard to see a player of his caliber really shine. So I'm hoping with Russell Wilson, Jamie Winston, and Jaxson Dart, I'm hoping we can get some new life in this offense based on the throws that I saw. That looked like what an NFL quarterback should kind of throws they should make. I don't expect to see any sort of shakiness or any sort of rustiness from Russell Wilson. He is older, but he still has at least 1 to 2 years left in the tank, 3 at max if you want to be generous. And of course, he should be a good role model for Jaxson Dart. Now, let's get to Jaxson Dart. That's the next one. He looked good. His mechanics are good. He's quick. The 2-drop step pass, it looks good. I like it. It looks fast. He's quick. He looks like he's NFL ready. My thing about him is that he just needs to get a little bit of the kinks down, get his reads a little more tip-top shape, because unfortunately, his first day of practice, I believe his first throw was a pick 6, which you don't want to see. But he was able to bounce back the next day and throw a touchdown on his first pass. So I think that that's a great improvement to, him. I give him credit for adjusting and doing what he needed to do, getting his due diligence in to study tape. He probably studied tape. I'm certainly positive that's what he did. His mechanics are really good, though. That's what I did notice, is that his mechanics don't need that much coaching. It's more so just he's got to get his reads down, got to get himself used to the NFL speed. Again, I did see some defensive helmets get into the backfield, and there would have been some definite sacks, or at the very least, Jaxson Dart would have gotten hit after the throw. So these are things that I want to see the offensive line work on, specifically the tackles, because Abdul Carter is giving them some work. It was usually Abdul Carter that's getting into the backfield. He's giving them some work, which is good. You want to see the offensive line get some work from their own team, especially if Abdul Carter, who in my eyes, I think is going to be one of the top rookies on the defensive side of the ball, who I think is going to perform very well. This is great to see for Abdul Carter. Concerning for the offensive line. Now, let's talk about injuries and concerns with injuries. My mother and I were discussing Malik Nabers and how he has a toe injury that he sustained from last season. And I guess he was playing through it because he did end up finishing the season anyway. So I guess he played through it. That wasn't a good idea. And he's been nursing this injury throughout the offseason. And there's speculation that this toe injury could potentially keep him off the field. This is a concern because if you guys remember the last time we were on the podcast, actually several times, I've stated Malik Nabers is going to try to find a way out of New York with all this Daniel Jones nonsense, if Daniel Jones continues to be the quarterback. Now, of course, Daniel Jones is not here. But with all that happened, with Saquon going to the Eagles, getting a ring, with all these other players leaving the team, Xavier McKinney going to the Packers or wherever, I think it is the Packers, succeeding, all these other players leaving the Giants and going to other teams and doing better. And we're just left here with misery and really nothing now, because the team is effectively the same. We've just added 2 older quarterbacks, and I believe some players actually left because they just wanted to get better payment opportunities elsewhere, while also just being out of the New York market. So we haven't changed the offensive line. It's still the same. It's the same shady bottom 8 to bottom 5 offensive line it's been for the last 6, 7 years. So what have we to look forward to? If Malik Nabers is healthy, we can look forward to having Malik Nabers. We can have Wan'Dale Robinson, and we could have Daniel Bellinger and that gentleman, I forget his name, Theo Robinson, I believe.
Why are you calling him a gentleman?
Yeah, just because I'm trying to be nice. It's preseason. You got to be nice. And plus, as far as I'm concerned, they haven't done anything to where I can respect them as top tier athletes. So they're just gentlemen right now. Just gentlemen.
All right.
It's respectful. I'm keeping it respectful.
All right. That's nice.
I expect the Giants to do a little better than what we did last season, which isn't saying much, but I don't expect to see starting off our offensive drive with a pick 6, Daniel Jones. I don't expect to see that, because that's what happened to us. We had a pick 6 on our first drive, opening game in the season last year. So we need to just have faith. As much as I like to be pessimistic, we need to have faith that Brian Daboll is figuring it out. With regards to Malik Nabers, this is a concern. If he does decide to sit out, that's a red flag, Giants fans, because a lot of times athletes try to stay off the field and shit. I shouldn't curse. Let's just be again. I'm not angry. I was about to say in bad situations, I thought about it. In bad situations, athletes really do consider just sitting it out because if they go back out there and they are injured and they do create a more serious injury, they lose value. So it's not good that Malik Nabers is opening up this offseason with well, preseason really, with I have a toe injury from last year. I may have to miss some games. It's not what you want to hear. So that's a concern. What's another concern? How about this? The New York Giants are thinking about signing Christian Wilkins from the Raiders. Now, Christian Wilkins is a defensive tackle. He's a first round draft pick from 2019 draft. And keep that in mind about the first round draft stuff. And the Giants are noticing that the Raiders ended up paying him to basically let him go. They paid him the rest of his contract what he was owed, which I think was like 39 million or something like that. I think they ate like 37.8 million, something like that. So they ate that to get rid of him because, and this is where the red flag is, Giants fans. He didn't agree to get the surgery for his foot that he fractured last season. He did not want to get the surgery. So Joe Shane, for some odd reason, is looking at this and thinking, I should sign him. He's not looking at the fractured foot. I want people to understand that. He's not looking at the fractured foot and how that could be a concern into next season. He's looking at what could be I don't want to say cheap, but a value pick where you could get some great value from this signing and add him to an already stacked front four, I should say, front four to front three, whatever formation we use. Adding him to Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, and Kayvon Thibodeaux would be massive. But the big catch here is that he will only agree, and by he I mean Christian Wilkins. This is according to him. He said he would only agree to sign with the team if he does not have to get surgery on his foot. If the surgery is recommended and you don't want to get it, how can we trust that you'll be on the field? The best ability is availability, right, Mom?
I would say so, yeah.
Got to be on the field. So, but enough yapping from the son. I want to hear what the mother has to say about everything that I just mentioned. Let's start with
There was a
Russell
lot.
Wilson. Let's start with Russell Wilson and Jaxson Dart. I had to give it all out there.
The Jaxson Dart, Russell Wilson, let's call it a saga. Let's call it a saga.
Yes.
Well, first of all, because even the son and I did not go to any training camp, and we have no plans to do it. We used to go all the time. We're only be able to, see clips with whatever's online, what other people are saying, and some photos, official photos from camp, which I have taken a look at. And just there's some basic things that I'm noticing about how they are covering the saga.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Russell Wilson, definitely wasn't the day that I guess it was Thursday's photos I was looking at. And I guess he wasn't really doing much that day. I think you mentioned that earlier. There were barely any photos of him. It was 157 photos from that camp day. I think that there were like 2 or 3. But most of them were him like walking out and shaking hands. But then there was a lot of not football plays. There was a lot of good action shots, really great action shots of Jaxson Dart. Ones that even just seeing him in a still photo, his personality looks completely different than stupid Danny Jones. And I think just the fact that he seems to have more of a leadership style and even a more conviction, even when he's playing or even practicing. I remember seeing photos of Daniel Jones, and he didn't look convincing as a quarterback.
Never.
So sad.
It was embarrassing. Did. It felt awkward. I'm like, that's my quarterback.
But it looks like Jaxson Dart. He at least looks the part.
Yes.
From an emotional standpoint, because there's emotion involved with football, obviously, right? And I'm not talking about crying. I'm talking about getting angry, making your team feel like they have to do something and saying, and letting them know that, you're counting on them.
Yep.
You guys need to get your crap together.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like he's able to do that. And
Yes.
that didn't seem to be the case for the last, what was it, 5 years?
5.5, 6 years.
It was too long, whatever it
Way
was.
too long.
It was too long.
5 years too long.
So should they, based on camp, which is again just has begun, should they be considering him to start? No, because he
No.
needs to play behind a veteran.
Yes.
So whether it's and I think if the team wants to have a good shot at winning, they'll start with Russell Wilson.
Absolutely.
And poor Jameis, it looks like we know that he's been plagued with the pick six situation over the last most of his career, his professional career. I don't think he had those issues in college, but yeah, but he's accurate when he's not throwing pick sixes.
Yeah.
But anyway, the funny story is that the son and I we were planning for this podcast, and he was looking at photos, and he was like, "Wait, which quarterback is that? Oh, look, this quarterback is throwing a pick six." And I was like, "That has to be Jameis Winston." And I said, "That is terrible, but it's true."
It probably was true. It
It
was
probably
either
was
him,
true. You couldn't tell which one it was because
and they didn't show the quarterback. They
didn't
only
show.
showed the ball in the air, and then it was Drew Phillips catching him and taking it for an interception. They did not
Right.
show who threw it.
Yeah, so it's a funny thing to be able to see those, just to say that, but it's actually sad and pathetic that the team knew this. It's not a mystery. Everybody, and we all saw the hysterical press conference with Jameis Winston last season where he was praying for the Lord to deliver him from his pick sixes. So it's not like the Giants decision makers in the front office could have easily been mistaken about his abilities. So
Right.
we don't think that. But I do believe that I think they're trying to preserve Russell as much as possible during camp. He'll get his reps in, of course. He'll work with the team because, like everybody else, new. I mean, except for Tommy DeVito, which is, I'm calling this season, for the purpose of our podcast, the last chance season. This is the last chance for a lot of these guys, right?
Yeah.
Most likely the last chance for Russell Wilson. I can't see him getting picked up again after his stint with the Giants. He might, but
He might.
I think he might just be a guy, another guy, a journeyman that kind of sits on the sidelines and waits for his turn. And he might be okay with that because he is a company guy. He's corporate. He'll say
Right.
what you need him to say. He goes out there. But this is a last chance season for a lot of the guys, in many positions with the Giants team in the front office and on the field.
Yep.
Daboll, I can't see them keeping him another season if he doesn't deliver at least win half the games or
Yeah,
more.
you can't go from coach of the year to having what he's been doing. You can't do that.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
And let's just slide right into the Malik Nabers situation. When I read that, he says he feels good, but he has this toe that's been aggravating him since college, and they've mentioned surgery a few times, and but he's avoided it. I feel like this is the season he's getting the surgery. I think it's going to be played out perfectly by his agent team. I think they are going to make sure that he needs to get stats so that he can get picked up once he gets the surgery and heals whatever. He needs to get stats from more winning games because he got great stats in his first season with the Giants, but it was mostly with losing games, which is, fantastic if you think about it, right? But, so they probably let him to see what he does this season, and then he will bow out. He will go down, and dramatically fall out with the toe, and then he will need the surgery, and then he won't have to play the rest of the season. I don't know when, but probably by mid-season that'll happen. We can always look back at this video later and see if I was right.
We're right about Kadarius Toney.
It's true. It's true. And what about Joe Shane?
Oh, okay. Let's start there. So, remember when I said earlier, everybody, Joe Shane signed a former first-round draft pick. Well, I was looking through a thread on that article about Christian Wilkins, and a lot of the comments were back and forth about do we sign Christian Wilkins or do we not? And the people who are on the side of we should, were only really looking through it through a rose-colored lens. They were like, look at if you have Kayvon, Christian, Dexter, and Abdul Carter. That would be a crazy front four. The quarterback would have a nightmare of a time trying to game plan against that pass rush. Well, by quarterback, I mean offensive coordinator and also the quarterback. But I mean, it would be a nightmare. And I do agree with that. But then I look at the other side and everyone's saying, why is Joe Shane suddenly going after all these former first round draft picks all of a sudden? And some of these guys are riddled with former injuries from a season ago. And it's all these like what ifs. Like it's like, oh, we could get this guy, but like what if he gets injured? And a lot of other people started agreeing. They're like, yes, Joe Shane seems to be getting all these first round draft picks or former first round draft picks from years ago. But like, does that equate to wins? It's clearly did not when we were doing it before. And people are feeling that Joe Shane, and I agree, that Joe Shane is trying to just make amends with what had happened. And he's just trying to assemble all of these first round draft picks to try to make a super team because he thinks having all these first round draft pick people will make the
Super
team better.
team.
Yeah, will make them better. He's trying to assemble some sort of, we'll call it the Family Dollar Avengers because he likes to work on a budget. He likes to work on a budget. It's got to be they have to be efficient signings. They can't be the money can't be too much. We can't overpay them, but we could pay what's his name? I can't remember the fool's name. The wide receiver, number 86. Oh my God, why can't I think of his name right now? You know what I'm talking about.
86?
Number 86. He was the undrafted free agent. Why can't I remember his name right now?
Not Bellinger. Not him.
No, not Bellinger.
He's a tight end anyway, man. I got his position wrong.
I should know his freaking name.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
I am too because he doesn't do
You're not
anything.
You're not talking about Slayton, right?
Yes, I am. Darius Slayton.
Okay.
So Darius Slayton, he got paid as much as Saquon did to renew his contract with the Eagles, but they don't want to waste money on players that they think it can get better value elsewhere. So they try to get these damaged goods that were former first round draft picks from other teams, and then try to make it work here. Now, my thing is, look at how they handled Daniel Jones when they came in. They're like, we'll figure everything out with Daniel Jones. They gave him a horrible quarterback lineup to have mentor him. They were all just journeymen, and then Danny DeVito, who had I did it again. Tommy DeVito, who literally has to prove himself day in and day out just to make a freaking practice team or something. I don't know, because he's definitely not NFL caliber ready. So, but that was his quarterback group. Now they come in with Jaxson Dart. They bring him Russell Wilson and they give him Jameis Winston. Not necessarily the best in terms of the Jameis Winston signing for like a mentor, but Russell Wilson, a former Super Bowl champion, that is a good mentor. They didn't do that for Daniel Jones when they probably should have, because that would have helped him. But now they're doing it for Jaxson Dart. And all of a sudden now they're trying to bring in all these former first round draft picks to try to assemble this team and try to make it better. My thing is, if they're a first round draft pick and they're a good player, great. But if they're a first round draft pick and a good player with injuries and huge what ifs, a fractured foot, and you're a defensive lineman, all that weight and all that force that you're going to exert on your foot, and they're recommending surgery and you don't want to do it, that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. And I don't think the Giants would be willing to take this risk. It doesn't make sense. They should not be willing to take this risk on Christian Wilkins for a fractured foot that could easily be re-injured this season, since it literally happened last season. And all because he didn't get the surgery. He was effectively paid off to leave the team. They rather would take the pay loss on that almost $40 million. That is how much they didn't want to gamble. They said, you know what? Just pay him his money and get him out of here. They did not want to even risk it. If you're paying someone $40 million to let him go, it's a red flag.
Total red flag.
You don't trust that they're able to stay on the field. But somehow Joe Shane is going to create this delusional scenario where Christian Wilkins is just healthy throughout the entire season and will have one of the best pass rushers in the league. It's not going to work out the way he thinks. The same way last season did not work out the way he thought, not needing to have Saquon Barkley be on the team still and paying Daniel Jones all that money. So we'll see what happens. I don't think.
And I want to add though,
Go ahead.
it's just it's a total resume builder,
Yes,
right?
100%.
But for Joe Shane, think about it.
Right.
He doesn't have the best track record right now
No.
as a leader, as someone who makes decisions and brings in the right guys to play. So if he can put a line, and everybody, think about how you put together your own resume, your CV, whatever, and you put in these highlights, awards you've won, things you've done that were great at your job. That's going to be one of his lines, assembled what the son called the family dollar.
The Family of Dollar Avengers.
His is going to say assembled, a roster of first round draft picks. Previous. I don't. He probably he'll just say first round draft picks assembled. And if anybody is not really paying attention to the details of that, it sounds better than what it actually is, of course,
Right.
right? Because obviously he hasn't done very much
No.
in his tenure, but
He's done a lot of
he,
bad.
yeah, absolutely. And because he is going to be desperate for a job, again, last chance season. He's going to have to circulate his resume again.
And I can
And
tell you. Oh, I'm
mhm.
sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. And
I
his
was
agent is going to be doing that for him.
I was gonna say Hard Knocks definitely ruined his reputation. Like, if nothing else ruined his reputation, Hard Knocks, with how he made his decisions. Yes, the decisions themselves were bad, but how he went about them. Basically, just looking aloof, talking about, do you think we can get any better value out there aside from Saquon Barkley? That question is not something that an owner wants to hear from the general manager if we're in the
No,
world of football.
no.
Another thing, he went to people well below his rank and went to them and asked them their thoughts on draft picks and all these things. It's like you don't have the knowledge yourself, and then you're asking your children what you think you should do. Whether or not that was a joke or not, these are things that you shouldn't have being seen in a video like documentary of how you run the team when the team has been failing as much as it has been in the win department and success of it, just overall everything. That's not something you want to see. So moving forward, other owners are going to look at that and be like, "Ah, man, Hard Knocks for Joe Shane. That was rough." People, Giants fans specifically, obviously, still talk about Hard Knocks. The news and sports media, rather, they talk about Hard Knocks every time the Giants have failed this past season. They referenced Hard Knocks. That is resume building for Joe Shane in a very bad way, where all they're going to see is how many failures he had since making those decisions that were video recorded for us to observe. So just think about that when we tell you that he is resume building, trying to sign all these first round draft picks from years previously and from other teams who are, I don't want to say washed, but they're in a situation where they were paid to be let go because of injuries and their inability to stay on the football field. But now Joe Shane wants to take a risk on them because it's high risk and in theory, high reward. But when that risk begins to eventually outweigh that reward is where he will crumble. So we'll see what happens. But Joe Shane is clearly moving like somebody who is concerned that he could lose his job with these types of signings because it screams desperation.
It's desperate. It's so desperate.
When you're going for somebody with a fractured foot at one of the biggest and most important positions in the league, being either a nose tackle or some sort of edge rusher or something. Those are some of the biggest positions on defense when it comes to pass rush because pass rush beats all. If the quarterback can't drop back to make a pass, they can't do anything. And you saw that firsthand with Daniel Jones for the last 5.5 to 6 years. The fool, although he wasn't that great, he still had no time to throw the ball. And I'm sorry, Tom Brady wouldn't have been able to do anything with that offensive line. They might have played better because it's Tom Brady, for all we know. They might have had a fire lit under their butt and they would have actually played properly. But Russell Wilson hopefully can get some sort of respect like that. But Russell Wilson, even on the Steelers, was getting banged up. Even on the Denver Broncos was getting banged up. So who's to say that's going to change in New York? And our schedule is very tough this year. This is going to be a rude awakening for Russell Wilson. He's in New York. He's in Big Blue where we don't give a damn. We want you to succeed. At the end of the day, you better go out there and you better try to win. We don't care what the schedule is. You go out there and you play. But he's going to realize after he gets hit for the 10th time in one of those games, he's going to get up off that turf. He's going to look at the score, and all he's going to hear in the stadium is boo. And he's going to wonder if that's really what he wanted to do. That's the true test when you're on the New York Giants. At least in the last couple of years, that is the true test. Do you really want to play football for the New York Giants? With the situation that we currently have. Because of management. That leads all the way back to Dave Gettleman still. We are still feeling his wrath. We're still feeling it. His reign of general manager. We're still suffering from his decisions. We have not recovered. And now this is carried over to Joe Schoen. The next general manager, I feel very sorry for, because they have quite. I'm just gonna curse. They have quite the shit show to deal with when their time is coming. I don't even know how they're gonna get sleep at night trying to figure out how to turn this franchise around. I would lose sleep. If I was a general manager for the New York Giants, I would be losing sleep every night trying to figure out how to turn the team around. So, but not Joe Schoen, he's too comfortable. He's too comfortable. For somebody who does not have
fabulous vacations this summer,
which I don't understand. You've had no success with the Bills, really. You've gotten to the AFC Championship. Good job. What about the Super Bowl? So you come over to the New York Giants, and all you've been doing is losing, and you've just been chilling. He just doesn't care. I just get that vibe. He doesn't care.
Are you talking about Daboll or Schoen?
Schoen.
I forgot he was from the Bills as well.
They both came. Remember, they're both Bills buddies.
About that.
They both came over from the Bills squad, and then they kept taking people from the Bills. Devin Singletary. I hate you.
Yeah.
Devin Singletary needs to be cut. He should not be wearing jersey number 26.
Okay, so that was going to be my question. Who do you feel should be cut post-training camp? After camp, all the cuts happen. Is it Singletary's one of them?
Devin Singletary is not going to get cut because he's wearing number 26. And they're still trying to push that narrative of replacing the number 26.
How sad.
Which is impossible.
Actually.
But that's what I feel like is going to happen. In terms of people getting cut, there's too many players to even think about right now. I feel like they need to make a decision between, I was going to say they need to make a decision between Jalen Hyatt, but I don't know. I just hope that the wide receiver core meshes together. Malik Nabers is able to shine with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Maybe Malik Nabers being so good could take pressure off of Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton. And you could see, I don't want to say it's a three-headed monster, but you could say Malik Nabers, Wan'Dale Robinson would be a majority of that three-headed monster. And then Darius Slayton would be a great third option. Because Darius Slayton was one of the people that made Daniel Jones look good in games. Not like throughout the whole season. Just there were moments where Darius Slayton, when Daniel Jones threw him the ball, it gave you some hope. Until eventually it was taken away, but you were given some sort of hope whenever you saw those big plays from between him and Darius Slayton. So I would imagine that's going to look a lot nicer between Russell Wilson and Darius Slayton. Because Daniel Jones was atrocious when it came to throwing the ball beyond 40 yards. Not Russell Wilson. In his older age, it'll be a concern. But I think Russell Wilson, with our type of offense, I think that that's a good offense for Russell Wilson to get his mojo back. We do a lot of short passes, quick plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's good for someone like Russell Wilson, who can be a methodical passer. Quick drop step, throw it 5-10 yards, get it up the field, keep it pushing. That's going to be good for him for when he needs to make those 45-yard and beyond passes down the field. And I think him and Jalen Hyatt, who he pointed out, if you guys remember, in the very beginning of preseason, he pointed out that Jalen Hyatt was not used enough in the offense. And that was one of the things that I feel like he's going to work on trying to change. Getting someone who's that fast down the field, getting them open, getting those big 50-yard plays, 65-yard touch plays, whatever it may be. Jalen Hyatt can do that. And we knew that we couldn't do that with Daniel Jones, which is why it never happened. But with Russell Wilson or even Jameis Winston, even hopefully Jaxson Dart, that is a possibility. So I am hoping to see that we use Jalen Hyatt more. I really would love to see that happen because that is such a waste to not use somebody who has 4.2 sprint speed. We're just not using him. Use him, please. I expect Tracy Jr. to have a great season. Tyrone Tracy Jr. I expect him to have a good season. I hope that he starts over Devin Singletary. Speaking of cutting people, let's not necessarily cut him, but let's just take him out of the starting lineup.
Sideline him. Just let him ride
Tyrone
the
Tracy
bench.
Jr. should be the starting running back. Devin Singletary should be the third down back. He should not be the receiving back because Devin Singletary cannot catch. He is not good. I'm sorry. He's just bad. He's bad.
He,
He's bad.
he has flashes of hope, but no.
Those flashes of hope being 40-yard games total. Because there are games where he's gotten less than 20 yards. And then I'm looking at the stats. I'm like, how does he always have 25 yards or less? All the time. Just terrible. But I think overall, the Giants, they look like they can be a lot better than they were last year. Again, not saying much, but they have the potential.
I could be better than
yes.
them.
They have the potential to be a 6 to 7 win team. They have that potential. They could surprise us and they could surprise us. But is that surprise going to be likely? I give it like a 10% chance. 10% that we get more than 6, 7 wins. 10%. Maybe. Again, tough schedule. Very tough schedule. We can thank the Eagles and the Commanders for that. Tough schedule. So we'll see who comes out not being fourth place. We're just trying to not play for fourth in the division. Please, can we not be fourth in the division like we always are? We have been fourth in the division for a very long time in the last 7 years.
We own that. We own it.
It's bad. We need to at least be third, or can we at least give number 2 a run for their money? Something. Outside of that one season where we had like the weak schedule, that was such a weak schedule. And everybody in the NFC East made the playoffs. That is how easy the schedule was. Everyone in the NFC East. We made it to the playoffs. Everyone. So that season is an outlier. We need Brian Daboll to get in there, coach the team properly. We need a new voice in the locker room like Russell Wilson. So I think we're good. Jaxson Dart, I hope he continues to improve. Do not put that man on the field immediately. Please let him ride out the bench and learn from Russell Wilson. Watch the game, watch the speed, watch the decision-making, watch all of it. Let him get the chance to read the coverages from the sideline and just watch the coverage. He didn't even need to watch the routes. Just watch the coverage. So, because if we put Jaxson Dart in from the jump, I'm going to crash out. That's not supposed to happen. Look at what the Packers did with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. Look how well their careers were. We need to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady rode the bench. First of all, Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round. Tom Brady rode the bench until it absolutely wasn't necessary anymore. And he started, and they never took the position away from him. Don't put Jaxson Dart out there from the beginning. Let Jaxson Dart watch. It's okay. I'm sure Jaxson Dart would be totally fine with watching. Has no problems. He's getting paid to do nothing. That's the best job.
But I do think he's engaged in the job and will.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not. Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. I don't want to make it seem like he shouldn't be engaged or that he's not engaged. Jaxson Dart is doing everything that he needs to do to change the narrative of the quarterback situation that we've had over the last 5-6 years. He is way more animated. He's a lot more of a relatable, personal guy. I don't feel like I'm watching a robot. Daniel Jones made me feel like I was watching a robot or someone who was AI generated. And they were just not, they had no expression, no emotion, no passion, just straight by the book saying whatever his little freaking puppet master that's holding the strings above him is telling him to say.
I love that. The AI generated QB. Daniel
Mom, this is his face during interviews.
Yeah,
I think I'm determined to turn this team around and maybe hopefully we'll get a win next week.
Yeah.
No, what is that? He's a robot. He was a robot.
He was like that show. It's the Apple Plus show, Murderbot, and the Murderbot.
Yeah, he was. And remember the photo of him? Remember the photo? Like, come on, straight robot. You can't tell me otherwise. Somebody's over there holding the puppet strings for him. I'm telling you, there's no way. But yeah, so Giants fans, you want to know what you think, even though you weren't here live. We want to know what you guys think.
There are people live because we were talking so much, and I've been engaging on chat.
Well, you didn't say anything.
Sorry, I didn't. It's terrible. Ethan Cavazos, we got Greeny Green.
Yeah, Ethan Cavazos coming in. Who pays Daniel Jones and trades Barkley? Exactly. And he said Slayton. Thank you, Greeny Green. See, this is what I'm talking about. You're the one that's supposed to be paying attention to the chat. My mom knows that I like to yap, so she needs to be paying attention to the chat.
I was paying attention to chat, and I thank Greeny Green. And Mojo Mystic just said Dart's bromance with Scatterboo is next level.
That is so true. Scatterbo is going to be a good running back for us too. He's probably not going to get any play time in terms of offense. I feel like they'll use Scatterbo for special teams, but I would love to see Scatterbo get some sort of play time in there. I don't know how they would do that, but like I said, they're going to try to force Devin Singletary down our throats until they can't anymore. Because I'm telling you, this is his hidden agenda. Joe Shane is trying to just erase Saquon Barkley from Giants' recent history. That's why they gave him number 26. I'm telling you. Devin Singletary did not deserve to wear that shit. He did not. But they gave
No.
it to him. And you know what? I hope it does fail with Devin Singletary. I want Devin Singletary to get benched personally, and you could just put Tyron Tracy Jr. and Scatterboo in there and have them both be the two backs. But that's just me. I'm not a coach. I'm not a coordinator. I just think that that is the best way to go. Scatterboo definitely has way more potential, a higher ceiling than Devin Singletary ever did. I could see so much more success with him in the offense, and especially if we're going to be a big passing team, since we do follow that West Coast style offense. I
Mm-hmm.
think having Scatterboo in the backfield for passes, along with Tyron Tracy, could be a very dual threat. Who knows? I'm just speculating, but this has to work. Malik Nabers needs to figure out his toe situation. If Malik Nabers ends up sitting out and missing time, I'm not very happy about that. It's concerning. If he tries to find his way out of New York, don't be surprised, especially if we fail again this season. If we have another season like we did last year, it's not going to look too good for Malik Nabers, but let's just be positive, optimistic. And I know my mother did mention the whole practices on her YouTube short, which if you haven't seen, you should go check that out. She talks about how she's been shocked that over the years, my mom has been obsessive with trying to find the perfect time to look on the website to get the tickets, which are free, by the way. She would always check. It would feel earlier and earlier each year. And every time she would go on there would only be like the last 2 weeks, and she'd be like, "Jamie, there's like only 2 weeks left. We need to pick a date. Are you free this week?" And I'm like, "Yes." And it's like I was forced to agree with it because there was no other date.
There was no other
This,
day, and we had to be quick with trying to
yes,
get those tickets because they would go so fast. But yeah, they can't give them away, and
they
you
can't even beg you to
know,
come
we're
to
we're
practices.
over it. You know, the Giants fans are over it, and
You
we're
can't
just
fail that
hoping.
much and expect people to be excited. You can't.
No, we our first preseason game is against the Bills.
Yes.
At the Bills, it's of course we have our famous Giants Jets game for week 2 preseason, and then we play the fabulous New England Patriots. I call them
Oh
fabulous as a joke.
God.
Call them fabulous as a joke, everybody. Um, we're at home playing the Patriots, and then we start the season with the Commandos.
Great.
Yeah,
What a
yeah,
way to start the season with a rival.
Commandos, not Commanders, Commandos. If they'll be the Commanders, this
Trump's trying to
this
get their name to go back to
let me
Redskins.
go
I was
back
like,
to
oh
the.
Lord.
Why even go there?
I was like, oh
Why?
Lord.
the,
Because
the
you know
team
that's just
the
what he
team
does.
was the team was nameless for like what was it,
Yeah,
at least
leave
a
them
season.
alone. Leave that franchise alone. They had no identity for like 2 seasons, for Christ's sake. Leave them alone. They were the Washington football team. Leave them alone.
People liked, and then people just they kind of stuck. People kind of liked that. They didn't even want to move to the Commanders, but Commanders are who we see at week 1, and then week 2 is we see the Cowboys. We at their fabulous. No, they're fabulous. Their stadium's fabulous. At the AT&T, we'll see our the Cowboys, our Giants with the
Great.
Cowboys. Yeah, we
That's just
do.
what we need.
So we'll see. Little division game action first 2 weeks. Let's see what happens.
It's gonna be a
Oh,
bloodbath.
the Chiefs week 3.
I forgot about that. I forgot about the Chiefs. You know
Sunday
what?
night football.
I'm looking
Sunday
at the
night
New York
football.
Giants schedule again. Hold on. We're just gonna go through
Sunday
it right now.
Giants.com/schedule, everybody.
All right. So blah blah blah. Who cares about preseason? You got Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers, Christ, Saints, Eagles, Broncos, Eagles again. Who did the schedule? Why would you do Eagles? Why do we gotta play the Eagles twice in 1 month? End the podcast. End the podcast.
Yeah, we'll save that for another time. The son will save his rage for a future podcast because
We're playing the
clearly
Eagles twice in October. It's gonna be a horrible Halloween.
it's yeah the yes the we'll be dressing up as losers for sure.
And then we finished the season with the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's a lovely schedule this season. We're doomed. Anyway, close this out, son.
Help me. All right, everyone. As always, thank you for being here. Please help us. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers. Please help. We need
It's like
this help.
the last milestone we need.
It's the last
Help.
milestone.
We need it.
We've only got 90 days and counting. Please help us out. We need to get these subscribers up. Subscribe.
Tell
We
a
can't do this
friend.
without you guys. Tell your friends. Tell your friends' friends. Tell their cousins. Tell their distant cousins. Tell their cousins on the other side of the marriage. Just help us out. Help this family grow. We need 1,000, a stack. Help. It's
Oh
free.
my
It
goodness.
costs you any money. That is it for now. We'll be back in a couple of days this week. I think we need to start pumping out more videos since it is getting closer to the preseason. I think we need to react to every preseason game at this point because we need to push for this 1,000 subscribers. So if that's what we need to do, damn it, that's what we're going to do. So please, even if it's just reacting to the first half of the game, a quarter, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I could come on here, I could go live, watch the whole first quarter, first half, whatever it is, and talk with you guys about the game. And we could sit there and be upset or happy together. Just tell me what we need to do to help us get to those 1,000 subscribers. Please. That is all.
I'm sure that they'll figure it out. Okay, folks. Well, we'll see you next time, and look out for those. We'll have some more content coming up in this next week. So take care and subscribe.